industry provides a powerful teaching tool. With commercial-free programs designed for students, Cable in the Classroom is delivered to schools by cable absolutely free. Now you can help your school build an educational video library. With Cable in the Classroom Comes Home, you can record selected programs for teachers to use in class. Cable in the Classroom on the Weather Channel. It's a good thing.
You can also get reliable forecasts from the Weather Channel through this radio station or newspaper.
Everyone, and thank you for joining us here at the Weather Channel. I'm Warren Madden, and we're taking it on into a Christmas Eve morning. And unfortunately, I have some bad news to report. If you were planning on driving across Tennessee and North Carolina and into northern Alabama and Mississippi, you are faced with icy conditions. The air temperature at the surface just below freezing. The air temperature a couple of hundred or 1,000 feet above the surface, above freezing. The rain falls as liquid into that cold air close to the surface. If it spends enough time in that, it freezes and falls in the form of sleet. If it doesn't have time to freeze while it's in the air, it hits the ground and freezes once it hits the ground, be it roadways or your stairs outside your house or your sidewalks or walkways. So be very careful outside. Make sure that you are prepared for slippery conditions. Leave yourself extra time to get to work, or if you have to do any shopping last minute, be prepared here anywhere from North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia, westward into Tennessee, and then ducking down in toward the Mississippi River. The reason why that air above the surface is warmer than freezing, well, look at where it's coming from. It's coming from out of the Pacific, across Mexico, and then sweeping toward the northeast all the way up in toward the mid-Atlantic and the northeastern United States. And so when we look at the expected travel conditions through mid-morning on Thursday, you see that beautifully. You can see that southwest to northeast trend, and notice the stripe of cold, of icy precipitation, the pink, running right parallel to that flow of air. South of that, it's warm enough at the surface so that we're falling as rain. North of that, once you get up in toward Washington, D.C. and heading up toward Philadelphia and New York City, we're talking about it falling as snow. Watch out for some fog also in that warmer air around Atlanta, heading up toward Greenville, and then certainly down into Florida, where you saw temperatures on Wednesday quite mild, certainly not like much of the rest of the country, but you will be dealing with a lot of fog around Orlando and Jacksonville and Daytona Beach and even over toward Tampa, and even New Orleans seeing some fog through mid-morning on Thursday. The only windy trouble we have to worry about, that is here in the northwest, where another storm coming ashore, starting off as snow around Seattle and Portland before the warmer air pushes in from the Pacific and brings those snow levels back up into the Cascades. So you might be dealing with some slippery conditions in and around the Puget Sound and Columbia River areas through your day on Thursday. Let's turn our attention to those temperatures. Arctic air still gripping the majority of the United States, with temperatures well below average, and these are below the December averages, so that tells you that it was definitely a cold day on Wednesday. Only 10 degrees in Denver, made it up to 24 in Kansas City, struggled to 21 in St. Louis. If you like the warm weather, where were you going? You were going to Florida. 80 in Tampa, 81 in Miami. As for the low temperatures as we press on into the day on Thursday, it once again will be below zero and well below zero here across the northern plains and Rockies. And the only place it'll be really mild is going to be in southern Florida, where temperatures won't drop out of the 70s. Now, I wish I could tell you that things were going to improve here across Tennessee and North Carolina, and if you live in western Tennessee, I think that will bear out. But farther eastward, here in the southern Appalachians, oh, just a very messy day for you on Thursday. The ice looks to continue because there's nothing to change things. The flow of moisture still coming up out of the southwest. The temperature contrast still there, cold at the surface, warm above. And so anywhere you see the orange, right on through the afternoon hours, we're looking at the chance of freezing rain, freezing drizzle, sleet, very dangerous driving conditions. That'll be moving mostly into North Carolina, northern Alabama, and central Mississippi and northern Louisiana as we move into the evening hours. As I mentioned, we'll be dealing with a new system coming into the northwest, so although you'll start off as snow in Seattle and Portland, again, as the warm front sweeps over you, you'll see a change to rain and the snow levels will rise up into the Cascades, and it is going to be a breezy day, so please be careful on the roadways. As far as the snow totals go, well, heaviest amounts will be in the western United States. Not too much here, maybe 1 to 3 inches anywhere from West Virginia reaching up towards southern New England. Not quite to Boston, or close to, but not quite. More likely down in the southern suburbs, heading down toward Walpole and Foxborough and Providence, Rhode Island through mid-morning. But let's look a little closer at the western U.S. Notice we have it right down to sound. So Seattle, you could be seeing several inches of accumulation before that switch over to rain through mid-morning on Thursday. High temperatures on Thursday. If you don't like cold weather, you can't take much heart out of this map, where the 20s pressing all the way south to Dallas and toward Austin, 30s even as far south as Houston and Brownsville. Head to Florida. That's all I can say. At least there you'll be in the 80s once again in Miami and heading toward Orlando. Let's look farther out into the holiday weekend now with your extended outlook.
Listen to this. You can save up to 50% or more on real estate through bank foreclosures. Introducing the Foreclosure Magazine, the most timely, accurate, and complete source for bank foreclosure information available anywhere. Hear for yourself the results.
We got this handyman special worth $65,000 for only $12,000.
We saved over $50,000.
I never thought we could afford property like this.
Our subscription to Foreclosure Magazine helped us to save more than $250,000.
My neighbors paid over $50,000 for their condos. With Foreclosure Magazine, I found a bank foreclosure for less than $20,000 and saved over $30,000.
Call now and learn how to get this free video with all the steps to buying foreclosures. Learn how the pros buy foreclosed property.
Thanks, Foreclosure Magazine.
Thank you, Foreclosure Magazine.
To order your 3-month subscription and free video, please call the number on your screen and have your credit card ready now.
It can slow you down. It can even be dangerous. But if you're ready for it, winter weather won't control you. You want to be prepared? You watch the Weather Channel. When it comes to something as important as this, knowing what we know can make all the difference. It's all we do. Now your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Travel day coming up on Thursday as people make their way to and fro, maybe doing some last-minute shopping or heading to where they plan to be to spend the Christmas holidays. And I wish I could tell you it was going to be better for you in the Carolinas, especially North Carolina, across Tennessee and down into Texas. Some areas getting a little bit better. For example, Dallas looks like you're out of the woods on this, but really icy conditions still continuing here across especially the I-40 corridor coming through North Carolina into Tennessee and then heading down into northern Alabama around Huntsville and on down through Tupelo and reaching in toward the area south of Memphis, Tennessee. Very, very dangerous conditions. Please leave yourself, at the very least, leave yourself extra time, and if you can possibly do it, postpone your travel till perhaps Christmas morning when this should have died down somewhat. Now, one thing that we'll be dealing with south of that area of ice, chance of fog, anywhere from northern Georgia and western South Carolina, especially down into Florida. Travelers along I-95, watch out. Visibilities have been reported during the overnight getting down toward a half a mile. So back off on the accelerator and don't go faster than your visibility really permits. And if you're wondering about your speed, use your speedometer. It's very easy to misjudge your speed when the visibilities come down and you're just lost in a cloud, because that's basically what fog is after all. Western United States could see some blustery conditions here around Seattle, especially around Quileute and Hoquiam, down toward Astoria, and into central Oregon, winds gusting up over 30 miles an hour. So high-profile vehicles, hang on to those wheels. Let's take a tour of the country now as we start off in the northeast. Some snow could be coming up. You could have some flakes on the ground for your commute coming down the LIE, or perhaps heading in across the Throgs Neck or over the Verrazano Narrows Bridge in New York City. Boston, more likely, if you're coming from the south around New Bedford or Plymouth or Providence, you could be dealing with the snow, and the snow will be there for your afternoon commute also. Boston on down to Washington, D.C., and of course the roads will be busy earlier. A lot of people get a chance to go home a little early on Christmas Eve, and so you might be dealing with some extended period of traffic, so you might want to plan for that. In the southern United States, without a doubt, the main problem will be the icy conditions from North Carolina and Virginia on down in through the eastern Texas region and reaching down toward the Rio Grande. By the afternoon, we're still in the problem. San Antonio and Dallas seeing some icy conditions return. Atlanta looks like you dodged the bullet. It's going to be far enough to the north, the cold areas, that you should stay primarily rain. Now here in the Midwest, things looking pretty good. Chicago, no problem. St. Louis, it's going to be a cold day, no doubt. Only 20 in Chicago, but at least you won't have to deal with the stormy weather. West Coast, quiet for California, but there's that snow along the I-5 corridor, changing to rain in Seattle as we go into the afternoon.
Listen to this. You can save up to 50% or more on real estate through bank foreclosures. Introducing the Foreclosure Magazine, the most timely, accurate, and complete source for bank foreclosure information available anywhere. Hear for yourself the results.
We got this handyman special worth $65,000 for only $12,000.
We saved over $50,000.
I never thought we could afford property like this.
Our subscription to Foreclosure Magazine helped us to save more than $250,000.
My neighbors paid over $50,000 for their condos. With Foreclosure Magazine, I found a bank foreclosure for less than $20,000 and saved over $30,000.
Call now and learn how to get this free video with all the steps to buying foreclosures. Learn how the pros buy foreclosed property.
Thanks, Foreclosure Magazine.
Thank you, Foreclosure Magazine.
To order your 3-month subscription and free video, please call the number on your screen and have your credit card ready now.
Around here, you can't buy a reputation for quality. You have to earn it, the way Wall did. Wall invented the first electric clipper 80 years ago, right here in America's heartland. And they're still the choice of millions of professionals worldwide. Today, you can get that same quality and reliability at home with Wall clippers, trimmers, and shavers, all backed by the Wall family commitment to innovation and value. That's what being a leader is all about. Wall, bringing professional quality home.
Wall's products are available at these fine retailers.
Okay, we've got the holiday weekend upon us. Let's find out what you can expect as far as the road conditions and the temperatures. We started off on Christmas, still a lot of cold air out there, 20s for your highs in places like Chicago and over in towards Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. If you like the warm air, the place to be is Florida with high temperatures in the 80s. We'll still see some mixed precipitation across much of North Carolina, so please be careful as you travel out and about. And another storm coming into the northwest, bringing rain along the coast, snow inland, and some freezing rain perhaps in the Columbia River Gorge. During the day on Saturday, we start to see a moderating trend, especially in the southern United States as temperatures rise a little bit, the Arctic air releasing its grip a little bit. More freezing rain in the northwest, in the Columbia River Gorge, heading up into southeastern Washington, heading toward Boise, Idaho, so please be careful. Now, during the day on Sunday, wow, look at this, in the 50s up in toward Nashville, where you dealt with all the freezing rain during the day on Wednesday. So some nicer weather coming your way, but with that press of warmer air northward, we bring the freezing rain a bit farther northward also. Watch out in Chicago on Sunday, could be dealing with some slick roadways. A few football games, some showers in Oakland for Chiefs versus Raiders on Saturday. No problems in Nashville, aside from a few flurries. On Sunday, Pats versus Jets, mostly cloudy. And in Denver, cloudy conditions for Seahawks versus the Broncos.
Bear country. Suit up. Burn apparel. Suits the American workplace.
You can also get reliable forecasts from the Weather Channel through this radio station or newspaper. You want to be prepared? You watch the Weather Channel. When it comes to something as important as this, knowing what we know can make all the difference. It's all we do.
Millions of people just love the Audubon Singing Bird Clock. It brings the soothing sounds of nature right into our homes. Now, introducing the National Audubon Society Singing Bird Watch. Listen to those melodious sounds anywhere, anytime. The elegant face displays vivid illustrations of 4 of America's favorite birds. Push the button and hear the call of the cardinal, the house wren, the American robin, and the song sparrow. Your Audubon Singing Bird Watch is a quality timepiece with an accurate quartz movement that's both water and shock resistant. It's a true Audubon Society collectible, complete with a certificate of authenticity, illustrated bird key, and information on how you can help Audubon protect America's birds. Order now for the surprising low price of just $19.99. And will also include this colorful antique-style keepsake tin. Remember, this is a limited edition. Order yours now.
To order the Singing Bird Watch for $19.99 plus shipping, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-936-9922. Also available at Target.
Now your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Welcome back to the Weather Channel, or if you're just joining us, thanks for tuning in. You've joined us in time for Storm Watch, where we review the unsettled weather across the United States over the last 24 hours and reaching into the future. And 2 big stories dominate the picture here as we move on into a Christmas Eve. One,
a powerful teaching tool. With commercial-free programs designed for students, Cable in the Classroom is delivered to schools by cable absolutely free. Now you can help your school build an educational video library. With Cable in the Classroom Comes Home, you can record selected programs for teachers to use in class. Cable in the Classroom on the Weather Channel. It's a good thing.
It can slow you down. It can even be dangerous. But if you're ready for it, winter weather won't control you. You want to be prepared? You watch the Weather Channel. When it comes to something as important as this, knowing what we know can make all the difference. It's all we do. Now your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Well, a messy night of scraping ice from cars in Washington, D.C. could extend into the messy morning with more of the same. The slick conditions that threatened a wide area of the southeast is now up the East Coast and in 2 parts of the mid-Atlantic. Good morning and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Vivian Brown. We have special coverage this morning on the winter storm that is creating trouble for holiday travelers. The icy hazards are still plaguing parts of the southeast. We'll have warnings on who should take extra care. In the northeast, snow will make it a white Christmas for New York City. Light snow is also on tap this morning for Boston. You will have freezing rain in Raleigh, North Carolina, and periods of rain in Atlanta. For the latest on the storm, let's turn to Bruce Edwards, who's in the Forecast Center. Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Vivian, and good morning, everyone. Indeed, we've got a spread of winter weather all up and down the eastern seaboard is now moving into southern New England in the form of some snow. But the worst of the weather continues to be parts of the Mid-South and the Appalachians. That's where the weather has been the nastiest, and so far that's where it appears that it's going to present the most problems as far as the icing is concerned and the travel hazards that'll be out there for you this morning. Let's take a look at the current weather map, and as we check it out, you can see once again the precipitation spreading all the way up from southern New England and extending all the way back into Texas. I mean, that swath is strong all the way up here, working on in towards the Boston area as we speak. Here's a little closer look, and we've got snow moving into Boston right now and then into Providence and Hartford, Connecticut, all of the northeast quarter picking up snow out to Cape Cod. The good news is the snow should be fairly light, might accumulate an inch or so, and then should be gone by later this afternoon, but it'll be cold enough, of course, for that snow to hang on. And that snow continues on back south towards
as we go through the day, so we'll keep you posted on that. Stay with us here on the Weather Channel starting
breakthrough. Prestone Windshield De-Icer Washer Fluid. Unlike many blue washers, Prestone guarantees it won't freeze in your reservoir. Prestone De-Icer Washer Fluid. Wipe out ice in your lifetime.
Prestone Windshield De-Icer Washer Fluid. It turns your windshield wiper into a windshield scraper.
Have a bagel, dear.
There's a hole in it, Marion.
Hey, guys!
Sweetheart, why is Scooter in our window?
Big news. 10-10-3-2-1 is better than ever.
It's always been great.
But now 10-10-3-2-1 saves 50% on calls over 10 minutes.
See, Tom, you don't know everything.
50% off? 10 minutes every day?
Every day, 24/7.
What about calls to Canada?
International calls over 10 minutes are half off, too.
That's great, dear. Come in out of the cold.
Marion.
Can't. Gotta tell the Peterson!
Who doesn't want to save 50%?
Every battery says they're better. One thing's for sure. With Railback, you get long-lasting alkaline power for less money. If you don't think they're just as good, you get your money back. You heard it here first.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel. Michelin Travel-Wise Report, brought to you by Michelin and your local Michelin dealer.
Now, we still have some fog this morning. That's the biggest travel trouble in Florida across the north central peninsula. That's the only thing you'll have to deal with today in Florida, because even though the rest of the southeast is plagued with rain and or freezing rain, it will be dry over the Sunshine State. So once this fog burns off, it should be pretty nice over Florida. We do have delays this morning, though, in Orlando because of the low ceilings and poor visibilities. And as you head northward, we have delays from Charlotte, North Carolina to D.C., Philadelphia, and Newark. We have reports of delays. That's because we have been dealing with some freezing rain in North Carolina near the Charlotte area up to D.C., and then it's starting to change over to snow. New York City this morning, so LaGuardia Airport, we do have delays, so big problems. Yesterday morning, we had the widespread area of frozen precipitation across the southeast, and it looks as though we're dealing with much of the same this morning, from central Texas over to northern Louisiana, even northern Mississippi around Tupelo, Bristol, Tennessee, some freezing rain, and the valleys here of Virginia and North Carolina. But it's starting to change over to snow, places like New York City and near Philadelphia. So here's a stretch of moisture. Rain to the south of this area with the warmer air. Around New Orleans, you will find some scattered showers today. It has been all rain for your area, Atlanta, so we do not anticipate any frozen precipitation. That's the good news, Atlanta. You've been scathed for the most part in terms of the freezing rain that we've been dealing with the last 24 hours. In the Pacific Northwest, we have snow all the way to the coastal shores, the valley floors. Quileute, Washington reporting snow, and we could find several inches in Seattle this morning before it changes over to rain later today. So snow in the Pacific Northwest and freezing rain, patchy areas from the hill country of Texas extending northward toward the Delmarva Peninsula, and again slushy roads a little farther north near Long Island as well as Boston. We could find some snow as we go through the day. This will start to taper off, though, after midday, we think, the snow in southern New England, but we will still deal with freezing rain and rain over the rest of the southeast. So zooming into southern New England, again, we wake up to some light snow this morning, New York City, and several inches can fall before it starts to taper off as we go through the day. So we'll call it morning snow showers, New York, Philadelphia, D.C. We've had some freezing rain this morning. We're forecasting a high only 28 D.C., so should not get above freezing as we go through the day, and much of the same in Philadelphia. So very cold, and as that moisture pushes as far north as New York and Boston, we could find some snow. Atlanta, it'll be all rain, as you should stay above freezing for the rest of the day. The high only 36, so teetering in the mid-30s for most of the day. 45, though, in New Orleans, all rain here. Much of the same around Dallas. Yesterday, we had some frozen precipitation, and that's what we'll have to deal with today. Patchy areas of freezing rain near Dallas. You go north of the area, though, and it looks good across the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest, and the northern plains. Chicago, it's going to be cold, though, so don't let the sunshine fool you. 22, the high.
This program was sponsored by Michelin. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
With the arrival of winter comes a new standard in winter tire technology. Michelin Arctic Alpine. Designed with patented zigzag sipes, Arctic Alpine provides greater contact with the road, so you get exceptional traction in snow and even on ice. And if Michelin can leave its mark on ice, it'll get you almost anywhere in winter. Michelin, celebrating 100 years of innovation.
Find Michelin tires at this dealer near you, because so much is riding on your tires.
I had questions about investing, and nobody would answer my questions. And then one day my friend was telling me about stocks and that she wanted to start a stock group. We go to the meetings, we talk about everything, you know, children and parenting and politics, and then we talk about which stocks look good. Then I come home and say, okay, let's do this with the girls' money. Let's invest in this stock. This looked the best to me. And we learned about it on Schwab.com, right? So you can go to college.
If you work outside for a living, you should know Walls makes clothes to fit any job. We've been keeping working folks comfortable for over 50 years, with clothes for every season. Because we know working outside isn't a picnic, unless it's lunchtime. Walls, leading the way outdoors.
Walls quality outerwear is available at a retailer near you.
Teddy Gibbs can't let a sore throat stop him. Even when it feels this raw, he toughs it out through the hacking cough, the aches, the fever. But when the job is done, he's desperate for fast, powerful Theraflu relief. With the first sip of that soothing lemony hot liquid, he feels comfort instantly. Soon his throat feels calm, his cough quieted. Maximum strength Theraflu, now in new cherry sore throat and cough. Instant comfort, powerful relief.
Every day is new. We tell you about the weather right now. How will it affect where you're headed? What about your plans? People count on us to get them through the day. I love that.
These folks are getting an actual free psychic reading, and you can too.
She told me that I was raised by my grandmother.
Which was?
True.
She knew I was seeing 2 people, not even tell her that.
You know I'd be starting a new job this week.
And it's true, you are starting a new job?
Monday morning.
She mentioned about a move to Europe, and that normally would have been outlandish, except for last week I accepted a position in Rome. So I'm moving to Europe.
He said that I was moving, changing addresses, going to Tallahassee, and that's where I'm going, Tallahassee.
He said Tallahassee?
To Tallahassee.
You're kidding.
No.
He actually nailed the city that you were moving to?
Nailed the city I was moving to. I didn't believe it at first. I've called before, and it was a bunch of sucky ones, but this was cool. It was just beautiful.
She gave you so much hope for the future.
Yeah.
Why is it making you cry?
It's so real. It felt so real. The other ones are fake. This one is amazing. This one is good.
Call now for a free psychic reading and find out how to get $250 worth of free readings every month.
Call 1-800-980-8630.
The Weather Channel is brought to you by this cable or satellite provider. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel. Get the forecast for the next 7 days in your weekly planner.
Hundreds of companies have made a remarkable scientific discovery. Kelly Scientific Resources, the unit of Kelly services that provides experienced, qualified scientists at all levels, always pre-screened by scientific professionals. Kelly Services, 750,000 employees worldwide, just a phone call away. 1-888-GO-KELLY. Kelly Services. Look what we do now.
Good Thursday morning. Thank you so much for joining us on the Weather Channel. You've tuned in just in time for the long-range forecast. We will certainly continue to keep you posted on the wintry precipitation across the south, freezing rain, and even snow as far north as New York City. Live reports coming up in about 40 minutes. And we'll have details from the update desk, too.
And this billion-dollar disaster can actually be prevented. Which disaster is it? Surprisingly, it's frozen pipes. To help keep your home safe this winter, remember, in extreme weather, let faucets drip. Open cabinets along exterior walls. Wrap your pipes with insulation. And if you take a trip, never set the heat lower than 55 degrees. A public service message from State Farm. To learn more about preventing frozen pipes, see your local State Farm agent.
To test their latest parka, Mother Gert Boyle and son Tim head for the mountains. Columbia Sportswear, one tough mother.
In this half hour, Weather Center AM with the national forecast, then travel-wise, the weekend outlook, and storm watch. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Well, a messy night of scraping ice from cars in Washington, D.C. could extend into a messy morning with more of the same. The slick conditions that threatened a wide area of the southeast is now up the East Coast and into parts of the mid-Atlantic. Good morning and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Vivian Brown. We have special coverage this morning on the winter storm that is creating trouble for holiday travelers. The icy hazards are still plaguing parts of the southeast. We'll have warnings on who should take extra care. In the northeast, snow will make it a white Christmas for New York City. Light snow is also on tap this morning for Boston. You will have freezing rain in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, and periods of rain in Atlanta. For the latest on this storm, let's turn to Bruce Edwards. He's in the Forecast Center. Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Viv, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and happy holidays. Now, if you got some traveling to do, there's several sections of the country where it's really
full teaching tool. With commercial-free programs designed for students, Cable in the Classroom is delivered to schools by cable absolutely free. Now you can help your school build an educational video library. With Cable in the Classroom Comes Home, you can record selected programs for teachers to use in class. Cable in the Classroom on the Weather Channel. It's a good thing.
It can slow you down. It can even be dangerous. But if you're ready for it, winter weather won't control you. You want to be prepared? You watch the Weather Channel. When it comes to something as important as this, knowing what we know can make all the difference. It's all we do. Now your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
I'm Paul Emmick at the Weather Channel. Time now for Weather Center. What's going on? Well, lots around our country, including a few showers that will linger across the southeast. Even a few spots might pick up here and there. The chance of some additional freezing drizzle. You want to be very careful for that. A little lake effect snow will still be with us, and in the western U.S., more moisture awaits even after this system is well into the eastern section of the northern Rockies and kind of moving on, northern Rockies. More moisture awaits for yet more rain and more snow. Let's talk a bit about some of the day that was before we get on to the day that will be as we look at highs on Thursday. As far as what's on average, you can see most of the country quite a bit below the average, including, well, New York City. We're about 7 degrees below our average, 9 below around Boston, about 12 degrees below for Portland. But you get into Texas, that's where we saw some really cold air. And we'll see at least some cool air in the day on Christmas Day throughout our Friday here. But things will rebound slightly over the next few days. You want to warm up, you had to find it in Florida. That you could at Miami at 82, but Dallas, best we did all day was 33. Houston made it to 39. But on the West Coast, pretty cool too for LA at a high of only 65 degrees. Chicago made it to 28. Maybe you're wanting to know what's happening north and west of Washington, including Alaska. 3 degrees a high at Barrow, 3 for Fairbanks, 14 for Anchorage. Out around King Salmon, right at the freezing mark for Thursday with 32 degrees. Maybe it's Christmas, you're thinking about vacations you'd like to take. How about Hawaii? No problem. 75 Lahaui, 81 to Honolulu, 75 toward Hilo on the Big Island. It's what I call a promising time. Good weather there for Thursday, and things look great for Friday as well for our Christmas Day. We mentioned the main action spots are in the west, where we have a persistent batch of moisture coming ashore with more snow potential. We'll show you how much in a few moments, as well as additional rain potential. Seattle and Portland, that will include us, and maybe some freezing drizzle too in the Columbia River Gorge. Have to think about that. Showers across the southeast too. A little moisture will remain. As far as any real widespread opportunities for strong to severe weather, that's not really being expected for the day Friday. Very good news. Not going to deal with that. Also, as far as the travel conditions, that could be a problem, though. Southeast will see scattered showers. We see that darker pink right there, that darker pink shade there indicates we'll see some icy conditions with a freezing rain. What happens when you see that? You see rain that falls. In other words, it falls from the cloud down. It's rain as it lands. But where it falls is a very shallow layer of cold air very close to the ground. And when you get that falling down there, or the cold freezing, that's when the freezing rain begins. In other words, it falls as rain and freezes after it lands, as opposed to sleet, which freezes up there and makes it down that way. Little mix there, maybe a mix of some rain and snow into portions of the Carolinas, but it could be very icy and slippery in spots nonetheless. Lake effect snow into parts of New York State and the west. Well, here we got it here too. We got more of our snow, even northern California with some rain. But hang on, before the weekend's over, in the Bay Area, we too could see some additional showers. Well, wind, that's something you may not see, but you can definitely feel outside around Seattle and Portland tonight. Elsewhere in parts of Montana, the wind is really howling, in some cases greater than 50 miles an hour. Be careful. Fog not a problem across the western U.S., but in around Jacksonville or any parts of north central Florida, maybe making a drive down 95 or even 75 heading toward Tampa early in the morning. Be careful. You could encounter some foggy conditions. Remember to use those low beam headlights. Let's get specific about what's happening here for our day today. South of the front, pretty mild air around Orlando, around Tampa, as I mentioned, Clearwater and St. Pete, a good day as we started up, even around Miami, nice day. But bitter cold, International Falls, even Minneapolis, quite cool. Chicago, we've seen warmer starts. West Coast conditions not bad, just a bit cool, although we could see some frost possibilities in Southern California tonight. Here's what happens with the morning. The showers are still across the western U.S., and our focusing mechanism is still in place. Front has slid pretty far south, but it's holding on as a stationary front. Kind of a focusing mechanism for the moisture. Pretty shallow layer of cold air, as I mentioned. Even some high elevations may pick up some additional freezing rain. Very spotty, but it could be a problem nonetheless. The big story really for the day is going to be just cool conditions. High pressure sprawled out. Big dome is sending air. Going to be a nice day for Chicago, Indianapolis, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. That part's fine. Just going to be cold. And it's going to stay cold, too, throughout the Northeast. Our stability's in place. Don't really worry about the clouds and all that. But I do expect the Northeast to be just incredibly cool. Heavy amounts of precip are going to be tough to find as far as rainfall goes. Don't really expect that into Florida. Most of them very light, a tenth of an inch amounts. That's really going to be about it. Some snow, though, piling up where you see that darker gray in some of the lake effect areas in the 6 to 12 inch range. Heavy snow in the Blue Mountains. We could easily see some 1 foot or greater, also parts of the Cascades and the Olympics, too. We could let it come in here. but maybe greater than a ½ inch, and maybe some spots around an inch into portions of Oregon. Again, that moisture is kind of unrelenting in its presence as it continues to show up in the western U.S. High temperatures, there we go. You want the warmth, you're going to find it in Florida. That's worth hanging around for the day, right? Coming up on the Weather Channel, we'll talk about travel conditions and how they relate to your day. Coming up on Travel Wise. Stay tuned.
The jobs of tomorrow are here, thousands of them, waiting to be filled. But you have to know the fields they're in, and you have to have what it takes to master those fields.
Tool. With commercial-free programs designed for students, Cable in the Classroom is delivered to schools by cable absolutely free. Now you can help your school build an educational video library. With Cable in the Classroom Comes Home, you can record selected programs for teachers to use in class. Cable in the Classroom on the Weather Channel. It's a good thing.
It can slow you down. It can even be dangerous. But if you're ready for it, winter weather won't control you. You want to be prepared? You watch the Weather Channel. When it comes to something as important as this, knowing what we know can make all the difference. It's all we do. Now your local forecast on the Weather Channel. Commercial-free programs designed for students, Cable in the Classroom is delivered to schools by cable absolutely free. Now you can help your school build an educational video library. With Cable in the Classroom Comes Home, you can record selected programs for teachers to use in class. Cable in the Classroom on the Weather Channel. It's a good thing. It can slow you down. It can even be dangerous. But if you're ready for it, winter weather won't control you. You want to be prepared? You watch the Weather Channel. When it comes to something as important as this, knowing what we know can make all the difference. It's all we do. Now your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here at the Weather Channel. I'm Marshall Seese along with Bruce Edwards. And Bruce was busy yesterday on the update desk following all that ice yesterday. But what a difference a day makes. Finally, a white Christmas for some who maybe were thinking they weren't going to have some yesterday. And today looks like a pretty nice day around the country.
Not bad, not bad. There's a few trouble spots out there, of course, but Merry Christmas to one and all. We're just a couple of elves that fell off the sleigh, and we'll try to get you through your Christmas day. Let's start with the water vapor imagery. Crank it up, put it into motion. As we do so, you can see some moisture again. Still the southwest flow persists from the Gulf Coast down to the mid-Atlantic, but you do see some drier air pushing in here. Most of the moisture pushing offshore, but still we catch a little southwest flow here, and a little bit of moisture still persists from the Louisiana Delta up towards the tidewater of Virginia. And you look back here, you can see the moisture just pouring down with a new system pushing in from the northwest, and that's really going to be one of the trouble spots, actually the corners. The northwest and the southeast will be the trouble spots on this Christmas day. So here we go. Kids, what are you doing up so early? I wonder, huh? It's snuggling under the tree, and Mom's thinking about putting that turkey in the oven, right? Well, here's your current situation. We got a lot of the wet weather offshore from the mid-Atlantic, but still, as you get to the Carolina coast down and towards New Orleans, you still have some unsettled weather. High pressure's dominant here, and the west winds coming off Lakes Erie and Ontario and Michigan, bringing a little snow to some of the snow belt areas, while the southwest is very quiet. But the onshore flow is bringing some wet weather and white weather to the Pacific Northwest. Let's take it piece by piece, because this Christmas morning, I know it's a little bit early. Might have been a late night last night, too much eggnog getting ready for Santa. Well, here's the situation. High pressure situated over the Mississippi Valley, bringing that west wind across the Great Lakes. So places like the Boyne Highlands catching some snow, up around the Keweenaw Peninsula a little bit here. And then as you get around Dunkirk, New York, and up on...
Hours to continue from the Grand Strand, Myrtle Beach, along the coast southward to the Panhandle of Florida. Mostly light rain, though, and you're going to see a little snow flying across Wisconsin, northern Illinois, keeping everybody in the festive Christmas spirit today, that's for sure. High pressure builds in behind that front, and we'll see the cold air remain in place as well. And then a low develops off the coast of North Carolina, but today it looks as though that may be headed out to sea and may not affect the Northeast with a major nor'easter that was thought about 24 hours ago.
That's good news indeed for the post-Christmas shoppers. We'll look at travel trouble spots for Christmas morning next.
Imagine TV.
I don't know, Stu.
What?
First the kids star in their own movie, now they're doing commercials.
I wouldn't worry, Dee.
But according to Dr. Lipschitz, if children experience fame too soon, it can go to their heads.
Come on, what's the worst that could happen?
Mr. DeVille, I'm ready for my close-up.
New Mercury Villager, now more room and more power. Preferred by grown-ups
and babies.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel. Michelin Travel-Wise Report, brought to you by Michelin and your local Michelin dealer.
Still a little bit of ice to contend with this morning, but nothing like we had to contend with yesterday, that's for sure. Matter of fact, this map is representing just the morning hours today, where there's still some freezing rain possible up in North Carolina. But the only indications that we can find right now are around the Fort Bragg area and Elizabeth City. And Cherry Point getting rain right now, and rain to the south of there too. But temperatures are hovering around the freezing mark, especially in the up in the mountains, some of the higher elevations. If you're going to be out there traveling early this morning, trying to get to some place today that you couldn't get to yesterday, just be careful when you venture out, because there's still some slick roads out there, even though we don't see a lot of freezing rain falling this morning. It is mostly warmer rain, about 34 degrees Marietta, Georgia, with light rain this morning. Atlanta's about 37 degrees with rain. It's raining over at Columbia, raining from Myrtle Beach down along the coast toward the Savannah area. But you can't rule out the possibility of some freezing rain this morning as those temperatures drop and then begin to warm as the day goes on today. So if you're traveling around Birmingham or hitting one of the interstates, like Interstate 65, that'll probably be mostly rain. Could find some patchy ice perhaps on Interstate 20 if you're heading west out of the Atlanta area. Radar shows precipitation from Gulfport and Biloxi, where it is raining, across Dothan and Ozark, Alabama, across Macon and Warner Robins, Georgia, and then eastward into the Savannah River Valley, and then into North Carolina. And again, this whole area of precipitation is sliding very slowly to the southeast. Out in the west, we've got some snow falling around Boise and Pocatello, Idaho. We have a warm system coming on shore in the Pacific Northwest, and that is, unfortunately, yesterday kind of destroyed the chances for the white Christmas around Portland, because the warm air came in and snow turned to rain. Up in the gorge area, you still have some snow flying at the higher elevations, and then over in the Blue Mountains, still a little bit of snow too. There are delays at Seattle and Portland, LA and Las Vegas, and down in Houston. This morning, there are no delays being reported in the northeastern hubs at all. In fact, today we're going to enjoy a white Christmas in Rhode Island. Provincetown got some pretty good rain. Cape Cod got about 8 to 9 inches yesterday. Southeastern Massachusetts, sitting looking out the window, or will be as sun rises, and it's going to be a nice sunny day. And we're going to see snow on the ground, so it's going to be great for the kids, and they're opening the presents this morning. 30 at Albany, 35 in New York City. That'll be the high. 35 at Philadelphia. The snow we got around the Washington and Baltimore area probably going to begin to melt today, because those temperatures are going to be above freezing. No travel problems in the upper Midwest. Chicago will reach about 33 degrees this morning, 36 in St. Louis. We'll see a flurry in Minneapolis as we get a little bit of a clipper that'll move through the area, and that clipper will take some clouds and some snow showers with it, keeping everybody in the festive holiday spirit, but not creating any travel problems. Southwest, just a beautiful day today, 65 in San Diego, 67 in LA. We will see rain in the Pacific Northwest, though, and as it heads up into the Cascades, there'll be some snow, but at the very highest of elevations, with that onshore warm flow out of the Pacific. Nashville hit 40 degrees today as the sun peaks out in Nashville, finally. 40 in Atlanta, but it'll be overcast. In Raleigh-Durham, some morning rain showers, high at just 35 degrees. And that means in some of the higher terrain, we'll have some cold air, and that's going to hold some of those icy spots in today. So just stick around the homestead if you can this morning. 76 at Tampa, 81 in Miami. Rain showers along the Gulf Coast, not a lot, just enough to be a nuisance out there, especially in the higher elevations. That recedes eastward as the day goes on. We're not expecting any large areas of fog. You'll find some in northern Florida, however, this morning. Out west, a little breezy.
This program was sponsored by Michelin. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
With the arrival of winter comes a new standard in winter tire technology. Michelin Arctic Alpine. Designed with patented zigzag sipes, Arctic Alpine provides greater contact with the road, so you get exceptional traction in snow and even on ice. And if Michelin can leave its mark on ice, it'll get you almost anywhere in winter. Michelin, celebrating 100 years of innovation.
Find Michelin tires at this dealer near you, because so much is riding on your tires.
For years, the Photo Center at Walgreens has been known for quality photo processing. Now, with the Kodak Picture Maker, you can create do-it-yourself prints in a number of different sizes in less than 5 minutes. You can even get a set of prints on floppy disk or the internet, so you can send your photos online. Create photo greeting cards today, and they're ready the next day. Walgreens Photo Center, where America takes. it's pictures.
If you work outside for a living, you should know Walls makes clothes to fit any job. We've been keeping working folks comfortable for over 50 years, with clothes for every season. Because we know working outside isn't a picnic, unless it's lunchtime. Walls, leading the way outdoors.
Walls quality outerwear is available at a retailer near you.
For the past century, nearly every snow thrower in the world has been powered by a single brand of engines, Tecumseh Snow King engines. The brand to ask for by name, the brand tested to 20 below, the brand that knows the most fundamental rule of snow throwing. It has to start before it can throw. Tecumseh, power to do things right.
Snow throwers with Tecumseh engines are available at these and other fine equipment retailers.
Merry Christmas from the Weather Channel.
These folks are getting an actual free psychic reading, and you can too.
She told me that I was raised by my grandmother.
Which was?
True.
She knew I was seeing two people, and I didn't even tell her that.
She knew I'd be starting a new job this week.
And it's true, you are starting a new job?
On Monday morning.
She mentioned about a move to Europe, and that normally would have been outlandish, except for last week I accepted a position in Rome. So I'm moving to Europe.
He said that I was moving, changing addresses, going to Tallahassee, and that's where I'm going, Tallahassee.
He said Tallahassee?
He said Tallahassee.
You're kidding.
No.
He actually nailed the city that you were moving to?
Nailed the city I was moving to. I didn't believe it at first. I've called before, and it was a bunch of sucky ones, but this was cool. It was just beautiful.
She gave you so much hope for the future?
Yeah.
Why is it making you cry?
It's so real. It felt so real. The other ones are fake. This one is amazing. This one is good.
Call now for a free psychic reading and find out how to get $250 worth of free readings every month.
Call 1-800-980-8630.
The Weather Channel is brought to you by this cable or satellite provider. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel. Get the forecast for the next 7 days in your weekly planner.
For experienced, temporary, and permanent legal help, the verdict is clear. The Wallace Law Registry. the unit of Kelly Services that provides attorneys and legal professionals in all specialties all across America. Kelly Services, 750,000 employees worldwide, just a phone call away. 1-888-GO-KELLY. Kelly Services, look what we do now.
20 and a half past the hour. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope your holiday's getting off to a good start. I'm Bruce Edwards here with Marshall Seese, and we're about to look at the next 5 to 7 days so you can plan the rest of your Christmas holiday week heading in towards the new year. Well, here's the jet stream, and you can see the jet bisecting the country, fairly benign looking as we work our way into the first part of the weekend. We do see a ridge of high pressure here, but still an onshore flow across the northwest. What we also see here developing on Sunday, a little trough carving itself out. We're going to be seeing a little unsettled weather moving into the midsection of the country, but with the jet moving north, we're going to also see some warmer temperatures.
Try to understand, Becky. These men are outlaws, and just because they admire the stylish good looks of our Mercury Sable doesn't give them the right to ride into town and take it. Don't you see? Somebody has to stay behind and stand up to them.
I know.
Why does it have to be me?
Teddy Gibbs can't let a sore throat stop him, even when it feels this raw. He toughs it out through the hacking cough, the aches, the fever. But when the job is done, he's desperate for fast, powerful TheraFlu relief. With the first sip of that soothing lemony hot liquid, he feels comfort instantly. Soon his throat feels calm, his cough quieted. Maximum strength TheraFlu, now in new cherry sore throat and cough. Instant comfort, powerful relief.
In this half hour, Weather Center AM with the national forecast, then travel-wise, the weekend outlook, and storm watch. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Merry Christmas, everyone, from all of us here at the Weather Channel. It's half past the hour on Christmas morning, and we thank you for joining us. I'm Bruce Edwards. This is Marshall Seese. We fell off Santa's sleigh last night, so we're trying to help you along the way this Christmas morning. Hope you're having a good one.
Got some people that are probably still up helping Santa maybe put together some of the...
Yeah, probably. You know, I'm sure. And Mom's already thinking about stuffing the old turkey in the oven to get it ready by dinner time or lunchtime this afternoon. So lots of activity, I'm sure.
That's right. Let's take a look at what's going on out there for those of you that may be trying to travel this morning early, putting off yesterday's travel until the weather picture looked a little better. And it is a lot better than it was yesterday. We've got rain showers in the southeast that are moving southeastward. Very little freezing rain. Fort Bragg is still reporting some frozen rain this morning. Some snow at Raleigh-Durham. If you're getting up this morning, looking outside, see some flurries flying, but that's about it. We got some nice snow deposited in the southeast portion or the southwest portion of Massachusetts, and in Rhode Island, getting some snow too. Yesterday, Provincetown got some pretty good amounts. Cape Cod got some good amounts of snow too for White Christmas. Santa being able to land the sleigh a little easier in some of those locations. And if you're looking out your window up in the Tug Hill Plateau, got some lake effect snow that's coming right across Lake Ontario, west to east, and getting some significant totals there too. Some reports of 10 inches of snow in like 4 hours. Moisture is still moving across Texas and across the southeast, and that's, of course, the reason for the rain showers this morning. They extend from New Orleans eastward toward Charleston, South Carolina. Midsection of the country is looking just fine. The Pacific Northwest, new system, a warm system, is bringing some rain to Portland and the Columbia River Gorge.
To achieve, no obstacle too difficult to overcome. Please welcome the Executive Vice President of West Coast Operations, Steve Doppold.
This Super Bowl Sunday, the Prize Patrol could surprise you with $31 million.
Hey, Todd, can you give me a hand?
The one and only Publishers Clearinghouse Sweepstakes. Now,
the self-service for the birds.
Bigger than ever.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Now before the hour. Good morning and Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm Bruce Edwards. You're just in time for travel-wise, so if you're packing up the car, heading to grandma's or aunts and uncle's house, friends or relatives on this Christmas morning, your real problem areas are on the corners, the northwest and the southeast. Now, the freezing rain and drizzle is diminishing somewhat, but still in eastern and central North Carolina. Even some snow around Langley Field, Newport News, Virginia reported, but nothing enough to cause any problems. Just to let you know, hey, it's Christmas and we got a little bit of snow, and how about that? It's nice. But wet weather down along the coast and into the central Gulf. There is some snow in some of the snow belt areas of lower Michigan, and also as you get into northeastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, New York, you're catching some snowfall here and the unsettled weather in the west. But for most of the country, it is a quiet but chilly Christmas morning. Here's the radar, and again, it shows the swath of moisture here along the mid-Atlantic and the southeast. There's some of the snows over the lakes, and a few snow flurries here, nothing extremely heavy, but some snow and some wind in the northern Rockies and high plains, and the onshore flow bringing some wind and some rain and some interior ice, freezing rain and drizzle here. Traveling on I-81 up to Syracuse, Watertown, you got some snow blowing off Lake Ontario, so that'll be a problem much of the day today with westerly winds. Now, most of the snow is staying south of Buffalo, but if you're traveling, say, between Buffalo and Erie at I-90 here towards Dunkirk, you're going to have occasional snow to deal with. Nothing extremely heavy, but we could see a small accumulation in some of the snow belt areas. Better news for Charlotte. The precipitation's pushed off to your east, but still you get around Raleigh, Durham, Fayetteville, Fort Bragg, up towards Norfolk. You got a little bit of freezing rain and drizzle and some snow on the back edge of this precipitation. That means it's crossing I-95 here, but generally just puddles on I-95, and that's going to be the case down through South Carolina into Georgia. Parts of I-16 and 20 are wet around Athens, and I-75 south of Atlanta is where you're finding the rain down towards Macon, Georgia, and that'll be a problem all day. And then you see it cuts across I-10 at Mobile and New Orleans. So once again, be cautious here for your travels. Again, a little bit of ice in the northern fringes here. Sand hills in North Carolina cutting across even towards the tidewater of Virginia. Mainly we're talking a rain event here, so be careful on I-95, I-24, Interstate 16, for example. It'll be a bit wet for your travel here. And in the west, I-5, of course, will be damp, but you get up in the higher elevations of the Cascades, some snow and widespread snow in the interior of Idaho, so I-94 and 90 traffic, you're going to be, again, having to deal with some snow all day long. While you notice the problems diminish to just old rain showers along I-95 and portions of I-10 in North Florida by later this afternoon and this evening, but still some snowfall in and around Buffalo and Watertown. No thunderstorms to worry about anywhere, but the winds will be gusty, especially along the Continental Divide. We'll talk about 30-mile-an-hour gusts or greater, perhaps as high as even 50 in some instances, and the onshore flow will increase wind gusts into Oregon to 30 miles an hour or greater, but no foggy areas here. Airport delays out at Portland and Seattle, but the East Coast so far so good. No airport delays anywhere.
Tis the season for the Lexus December to Remember sales event with values you've never dreamed possible. After all, we know not everyone has visions of sugar plums. Ends January 4th, so make haste to your Lexus dealer.
Have a bagel, dear.
There's a hole in it, Marion.
Hey, guys!
Sweetheart, why is Scooter in our window?
Big news. 10-10-3-2-1 is better than ever.
It's always been great.
But now 10-10-3-2-1 saves 50% on calls over 10 minutes.
See, Tom, you don't know everything.
50% off, 10 minutes every day?
Every day, 24/7.
What about calls to Canada?
International calls over 10 minutes are half off, too.
That's great, dear. Come in out of the cold.
Marion.
Can't. Gotta tell the Peterson!
Who doesn't want to save 50%?
When we were traveling cross country, we stopped at a place. They had the business channel we started watching, and the market was going down, and we said, there are these stocks we wanted to buy, and from the road we called up.
Called Schwab because we didn't have a phone modem in the motorhome, so we couldn't trade online. Where were we?
Utah.
Utah.
We're in Utah.
On a payphone, talking to Schwab,
Trying to get.
buying the stocks. There was a feeling of exhilaration. Hey, we've done it. You've committed to it. Then we got back in the motorhome and traveled on our way.
And those purchases
have done very well.
Video games don't just blast through your batteries.
More batteries!
They blast through your money. That's why you should arm yours with Rayovac Maximum Alkaline. They pack long-lasting alkaline power but cost less, so you can buy more games.
How about a little one-on-one?
Get the Maximum. Rayovac Maximum.
Now, battery storage is easy. Just pick up the new Rayovac Pro Pack at a store near you.
15 now before the hour. Time to look at the weekend, this Christmas holiday weekend, and today's high temperatures will be definitely Christmassy over most of the country. On the cool side and below normal in many instances, except in Central and South Florida. All the snowbirds that escaped down there for Christmas got just what they're looking for, 80-degree temperatures for today. But we will see a modifying trend of the numbers. Again, they're going to get a little warmer in the south and even into the northeast on Saturday, and the warming trend will continue on into Sunday, so it gets better and better day by day throughout the weekend. As far as precipitation, once again, the swath of moisture here, mainly rain, but we're getting some morning ice here in the Carolinas, so do be careful if you're getting an early start today. Snow belt areas of upstate New York and Michigan catch some snow. Late day flurries blow across the northern plains, and the onshore flow in a new storm system brings wind and rain and mountain snows to the northwest. That will continue on into Saturday while the rains here diminish, while a little low pressure offshore may throw enough moisture back to get a little rain-snow combo going over coastal sections of New England, but it should be very, very light. That little clipper brings some snows into the Great Lakes. Then on Sunday, if you're traveling back home, for example, Real quiet weather over most of the country, just some light flurries to the north. Your unsettled weather will be in the northwest coast. Now, this weekend, NFL's regular season wrap it up. Cloudy skies for the Seahawks and Broncos in Denver on Saturday. Vikings and Oilers in Houston, or excuse me, in Tennessee. Not looking bad. Cool, but sunny.
Imagine TV.
I don't know, Stu.
What?
First the kids star in their own movie, now they're doing commercials.
I wouldn't worry, Dee.
But according to Dr. Lipschitz, if children experience fame too soon, it can go to their heads.
Come on, what's the worst that could happen?
Mr. DeVille, I'm ready for my close-up.
New Mercury Villager, now more room and more power. Preferred by grown-ups
and babies.
You can also get reliable forecasts from the Weather Channel through this radio station. What's the weather going to be like where you're traveling to tomorrow? Find out with a wake-up call from 1-900-WEATHER. Call 1-900-WEATHER, 95 cents a minute from a touch-tone phone.
Psychic Talk is on the road here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to find out what people think of their very own psychic readings.
She talked about some involvement in real estate. I am a real estate broker. It did not come up in the conversation at that point.
I also feel like he's got a couple of running mates. He spends more time with them than he does you.
Yeah.
I feel like he's Mr. Excuses.
Yeah.
Yesterday we had a good deal going on that we're about to close, and she told me details about the deal that only I know.
Are you having concerns with your mother?
Yes, oh my gosh.
It's unbelievable. It really is, because he was talking about things that were on my mind. I can't believe that.
I can't believe the things she told me. I was so skeptical.
What happened?
Well, we're interested in moving here, as a matter of fact, and that was the first thing she said. I was looking for a place, and it looked good, and she knew everything. I just can't believe it. I really can't.
Find out what the best psychics anywhere have to tell you and call now.
Call 1-800-467-3768.
You want to be prepared? You watch the Weather Channel. When it comes to something as important as this, knowing what we know can make all the difference. It's all we do. Now your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Thanks for joining us here at the Weather Channel early on your Christmas morning, about 10 minutes before the top of the hour. That'll make it about 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in about 10 minutes. And it looks like the ice storm is over with, but we have a lot of ice still out there and people with power outages too. Virginia, North Carolina, utility workers are working very hard trying to restore electric power to everyone. Let's take a look now and show you where all that has going, as Stormwatch is sponsored by Rayovac. And a lot of moisture still in the southeast, most of it relegated to the near coastal areas, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Also raining down along the coast of Biloxi, Gulfport, Mississippi, for example. Getting some clearing out in the Ohio River Valley. Had some nice snow yesterday to bring us a white Christmas up around Provincetown and southwestern Massachusetts and Rhode Island. But this is not really a white Christmas as much as it is an icy Christmas from Raleigh-Durham westward toward the Winston-Salem area and then eastward toward the coast. There's a possibility for some freezing rain early this morning, still here, and some drizzle. But most of that is over with, although Fort Bragg is still reporting some freezing rain this morning, and we've even seen a little light snow flying around the Raleigh-Durham area this morning. But most of it is rain. But if you're traveling on if you're going out early today, anywhere out here, you still have icy roads from yesterday, although the road crews have been very busy overnight too, trying to improve conditions for those early morning travelers today. You'll find rain scattered from Wilmington, North Carolina, across central Georgia, most of South Carolina to southern Alabama and Mississippi this morning. Most people are going to be staying indoors, so it's a good day for that to be happening, because by the time we're going to go outdoors, a lot of this rain will end and spread more southeast.
It won't control you. You want to be prepared? You watch the Weather Channel. When it comes to something as important as this, knowing what we know can make all the difference. It's all we do. Taking off for the holidays, hitting the road to visit friends, family, or shop for gifts. Before you head for your holiday destination or return home, rely on the experts. Rely on the Weather Channel for weather you can always turn to. In the next half hour, Weather Center AM, a comprehensive national forecast. At 10 after, travel-wise with international weather, followed by the forecast for the next 7 days in the Weekly Planner. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Well, the South is finally shaking the stormy weather that made holiday travel so difficult yesterday. But it won't be until a little bit later on this morning. Well, Merry Christmas and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Cheryl Lemke.
And I'm Will Annen. Hopefully you are safely at your destination and can enjoy the white Christmas in many areas for the upcoming day, although it won't last for long for some people, that is for sure. Enjoy the snow for the upcoming day around New York City, because you're going to be looking at sunshine and warmer temperatures, and that's going to threaten to melt most of the snow for today. After a terrible ice storm, Raleigh and also the area around Durham is seeing some snow flurries this morning. Atlanta has cloudy skies, and Hartford, Connecticut is starting out with temperatures in the teens this morning. With more in the Northeast, let's go to Cheryl.
Well, if you were hoping and dreaming for a white Christmas, it definitely looks as if your hopes and dreams will be coming true. We are looking at some snow this morning, especially around Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. What's happening is that we have lake effect snow. Some cool westerly winds flowing across the Great Lakes, And those winds are picking up some of the moisture from the Great Lakes and in turn depositing the moisture in the form of snow showers. And again, most of the activity just downwind of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. And we've had some areas rather hard hit, in fact, especially up here around Montague and around the Tug Hill Plateau. Some locales picking up anywhere between 8 inches of snow to close to 2 feet of snow for some locales. So indeed, a lot of snow for some areas. Still the bands of snow this morning, especially between Watertown and Syracuse back through the Tug Hill. If you're traveling this morning over portions of Interstate 81, it may be rather dicey. And there's more snow to be found too, especially south of Buffalo, back through Dunkirk and over towards Lake Chautauqua. Now again, the snows that we're seeing this morning on top of some of the snow that fell yesterday is definitely making for a white Christmas. So if you're getting up this morning unwrapping the Christmas packages,
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel. Now the Michelin TravelWise Report, brought to you by Michelin and your local Michelin dealer.
Well, much better news to report if you're going to be doing any flying at all into much of the eastern hubs for the upcoming day. Things are improving greatly right now from Boston down towards Philly and Washington. We saw a band of sleet and snow during the last 24 hours. At this time yesterday, many delays from Boston down towards New York City, but nothing like that right now. There is some rain again around Atlanta, Georgia, heading on southbound. Could be looking at a few delays there. Looks like the worst of the problems today will be not occurring around Dallas, where there was another band of freezing rain yesterday, down towards Austin and Killeen and San Antonio. Now it's occurring throughout the Pacific Northwest, because we are looking at some rain coming into the picture. Of course, Seattle and Portland yesterday at this time saw some snow, then freezing rain, now back to rain. But looks like for much of the Snake River Valley, you're going to be looking at some problems for sure as you look at the upcoming weekend. Clear sailing all the way from Boston down to New York to Philly this morning. No problems whatsoever at the major hubs. That is a pretty good news situation right now. Elsewhere around the country, we'll show you what is happening as far as the radar. There is that strip of precipitation. Much of it right now is just plain rain, especially for the eastern Carolinas and the Georgia, all the way back towards Mobile, Alabama, and now skirting the northwestern coast of Florida. South Florida, Central Florida, very mild this morning. Could be looking at a few isolated showers today, but overall, it's going to be a winter Orlando, all the way over towards Tampa and down towards Miami and West Palm too. Let's show what's happening throughout the Midwest. Dry weather for Columbus, Indianapolis, and also Chicago and St. Louis. Not a bad situation, but this is going to be a speedy storm for sure as it begins to cruise across the northern plains. Light snow is back in the picture a little bit later on today as you take a look at Minnesota into extreme western Wisconsin. But for now, there's your chance at some icy weather still lingering in parts of the Carolinas, but not too much longer. And through midday today, the snows are going to be flying in the Bitterroots and also throughout much of the Snake River Basin as you look at the state of Idaho and also eastern Oregon. That area begins to expand snow-wise into the Cascades by early on this evening. This area in the southeast begins to shrink. Watch out for the lake effect snows lifting on northbound. Could be affecting places like Buffalo, New York a little bit later on. Most of the snow squalls right now south of Buffalo, but with a southwesterly wind coming back into the picture, they will definitely be shifting on northward a little bit later on today. Severe thunderstorms, strong storms, nothing in the cards today. That is good news nationwide. Don't have to worry about that. And as far as any foggy weather goes, nothing large scale at the present hour, but for the second morning in a row, there is some fog on I-75 in south of Georgia down towards Lake City and Gainesville. Do be aware of that if you're going to be doing some traveling this morning across northern Florida. Let's see what else is going on around the country. We have some windy weather. We could be looking at some winds gusting better than 50 miles per hour around Livingston, Montana. Also some stronger winds along the Oregon coastline, but the storm warnings are gone. They have been dropped for the time being. As we looked at one storm moving on inland, another storm is on the way though for later on this afternoon. Our trouble spot for the upcoming day, still we're going to be looking at some icy weather in and around Raleigh-Durham. Now the bulk of the rainfall is gone, but keep in mind that was a massive ice storm in and around Raleigh and Durham and Chapel Hill back towards the South Carolina border. Many areas are still without electricity, street lights are out, and once again if you encounter one of those situations, you treat every intersection that has a street light that is out like a four-way stop. And then you should get to your destination a little bit more safely. But things are improving definitely at the present hour, and we'll let you know the forecast for the next 5 days next.
This program was sponsored by Michelin. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
This might be a good time to talk about the Michelin X1. Thanks to Michelin technology, it gives you long mileage and better wet braking than any rain tire. And that should make everyone on a wet road happy.
Michelin, celebrating 100 years of innovation.
Find Michelin tires at this dealer near you because so much is riding on your tires.
And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed.
And Joseph also went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea.
To help you share the Christmas joy with your family this season, we'd like to send you a free copy of the King James Version of the Holy Bible, absolutely free. Just call this toll-free number for your copy of this special book.
And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son,
and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn.
Just call this toll-free number and you'll receive a free copy of the King James Version of the Bible without cost or obligation. It's a Christmas gift from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
For unto you is born this day
in the city of David a Savior,
which is Christ the Lord.
Call now for your free copy of the Holy Bible.
If you spend any time in the cold, you should know Walls has clothes to keep you warm. We've been keeping active folks comfortable for over 50 years with clothes for winter's worst. Because we know the weather won't give you a break unless you take one. Walls, leading the way outdoors.
Walls quality outerwear is available at a retailer near you.
Merry Christmas from the Weather Channel.
The holidays aren't going to be the same for me anymore. They're going to be better because I just traded in my sleigh on a new Craftmatic adjustable bed. My Craftmatic not only adjusts into the jolliest positions imaginable, it temporarily helps relieve my low back pain and helps me relax and sleep better. Consider giving yourself or special loved one a gift that will make you feel wonderful. Call toll-free to get this free Craftmatic information pack by mail. Inside you'll find a little gift from me. It's this certificate good for a free 25-inch stereo color TV. The TV is yours free with the purchase of a Craftmatic Model 2 bed. To get your free 25-inch stereo color TV certificate and catalog by mail, call toll-free. On Dancer, on Prancer. There's absolutely no obligation.
Call toll-free 1-800-351-5700. That's 1-800-351-5700 toll-free. Call 1-800-351-5700.
The Weather Channel is brought to you by this cable or satellite provider. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel. Coming up, get the forecast for the next 7 days in your weekly planner.
Hundreds of companies have made a remarkable scientific discovery. Kelly Scientific Resources, the unit of Kelly services that provides experienced, qualified scientists at all levels, always pre-screened by scientific professionals. Kelly Services, 750,000 employees worldwide, just a phone call away. 1-888-GO-KELLY. Kelly Services. Look what we do now.
Good morning and happy holidays. Well, on behalf of me and everybody else that works here at the Weather Channel, we'd like to wish you a very happy and a very blessed holiday season. Let's see how the forecast will be shaping up for the rest of your Christmas holidays and through the early part of next week as well. We start off by first of all looking at the jet stream. And overall, at least for today, the jet stream looks rather uneventful, kind of a zonal flow flowing from the west to the east. However, as time continues to wear on, we'll eventually see a trough of low pressure plowing in across the central part of the country, and the jet stream will start to dig, indicating that trough of low pressure. So we will start to see more unsettled weather conditions coming in later on this weekend. At the same time, though, a ridge of high pressure tries to build up at least momentarily along the eastern seaboard, so a brief warm-up on tap by Monday and Tuesday. All right, let's check out today's forecast on this Christmas Day. Now, unfortunately, the southeast has been plagued by a lot of ice and some scattered snows the last couple of days. Luckily today, though, things are improving. We still have some leftover ice, though, taking place this morning over parts of North Carolina, but much of that will be tapering off later today. Unfortunately, though, because we've had so much ice, there's still numerous reports of downed trees and power lines. Lots of power outages across portions of North Carolina and even parts of Virginia. So still be really careful this morning if you're doing some traveling, because the roadways are still like an ice skating rink in some places. Some cool rains, though, persisting at least for a good part of the day from around the Outer Banks of North Carolina through around Charleston, Savannah, even down through the Florida Panhandle. The rest of Florida, though, in for some beautiful weather on this Christmas Day, lots of sunshine and warm temperatures. And you'll be seeing lots of sunshine too, we think, around Detroit, Chicago, back through Oklahoma City and down through Dallas, Texas. But temperatures still rather cool across the nation's midsection. I guess the main weather feature today, though, will be across the Pacific Northwest. A new storm system comes in, spreading some rain, some generous snowfall too for the Cascades, and the snow showers start to spread their way across the northern Rockies and the upper Plains states by later on tomorrow. So if Santa bought you some new skis for Christmas, you will definitely have the opportunity to use those skis later this weekend with lots of fresh powder coming down across the mountains of the west. How about Sunday? Heading back to church? Well, maybe some scattered snow flurries across the Dakotas, maybe some light snow too coming down from Minneapolis and St. Paul, back through Green Bay, Madison, and Milwaukee. But the east will remain rather quiet. By Monday, though, heading back to work, you might need the rain gear across the Ohio Valley and parts of the lower Mississippi Valley. There's another storm system kind of moving on in rather quickly. And this one, though, will not be as cold as the previous storm system. So most of the precipitation that we'll see will basically fall in the form of rain. The rains from Alabama through Georgia, Miami too could see some rain. Showers too riding northward over towards Boston and New York City. Snow showers, though, possible for interior sections of the Northeast. Then by Wednesday, some more fast-moving clippers is kind of zipping across the Great Lakes will spread their way too across the northeastern part of the country. And we'll have another bout of winter, another bout of snow likely for Cleveland back through Buffalo with some scattered snows too across portions of the Hudson Valley by the middle of next week. How about temperatures? Well, it remains a little bit on the cool side for most of the country, still about 10 degrees colder than what it should be for this time of the year. And highs at best only in the lower 40s today for Atlanta. A chilly afternoon too throughout the mid-Atlantic, including Baltimore and Washington, D.C., with temperatures staying in the 30s. Gradually, though, for the rest of the holiday weekend, we watch temperatures moderating. Look at that by Sunday, not too bad across Texas. Some 70s coming back into the picture for Dallas and Austin and San Antonio, Texas, and milder 50s and 60s blanketing the Gulf coastal region. By Monday and Tuesday, though, we start to see inroads of another blast of colder air dropping down from Canada. Nothing really brutally cold, but it's definitely a reminder that it's the winter season. And for those overnight lows, definitely take in the pets at night because it will stay chilly. Teens and 20s making up a large part of the country, 30s and 40s all the way down towards the Gulf coastal region, and the really cold stuff across the northern Plains states and the upper Mississippi Valley, where nighttime lows at times could be dropping below zero. So definitely, if you're going to be outside at night, you will have to wear several layers of warm clothes. Making more specific plans for the rest of the holiday weekend? Well, let's check out the forecast now with Will.
Okay, Cheryl, once again, we'll check on your weather forecast coming up. We'll take a look at what's going to be happening on Friday for this upcoming Christmas Day. The rainfall confined to the southeastern corner of the country, but much of the nation is going to be dry. Pittsburgh, getting over towards Columbus, Ohio, and Cleveland, Indianapolis, Chicago, and St. Louis, down to Dallas. No icy weather to worry about today for the Lone Star State or Shreveport, Louisiana, or Jackson, Mississippi. But you will be looking at some rainfall beginning to edge into extreme northern Florida today, where temperatures cooling down a tad, especially in the north, where there could be some significant cooling going on there. The west is going to be the stormiest of the places for the next 2 or 3 days, right through Saturday, right into Sunday. The rains will continue along the coast, dropping into northern California, and flurries diving on eastward now towards Traverse City and Green Bay and Minneapolis, St. Paul. And the forecast highs next several days will continue to get a little bit cooler now throughout the northern plains eventually on. But look at the big warm-up now from Texas to Florida and New Orleans.
Dreams of a white Christmas become reality in parts of the Northeast, while elsewhere freezing rain continues to cause holiday travel headaches. An update next on Weather Center.
Imagine TV.
I don't know, Stu.
What?
First the kids star in their own movie, now they're doing commercials.
I wouldn't worry, Dee.
But according to Dr. Lipschitz, if children experience fame too soon, it can go to their heads.
Come on, what's the worst that could happen?
Mr. DeVille, I'm ready for my close-up.
New Mercury Villager, now more room and more power. Preferred by grown-ups
and babies.
If you're ready for your own home and money is tight, you're probably asking yourself questions like, what kind of home can we get without a huge down payment? How about top quality homes like these? Or you're wondering, what kind of home can we afford on our income? Say $35,000 or $40,000 a year. What if you can have one like these? And if your credit isn't absolutely perfect, you might worry, what kind of home can we get if our bank turns us down? What if you could have one of these? Or what kind of home can we get when we can't afford mortgage payments higher than our present rent? For many people, it's been homes like these. Now you probably want to know, how can I make this happen for me? We're DeGeorge Home Alliance. When others say you can't afford a home, we'll show you how you can. Call this toll-free number for more information, and let's do it.
Things are slow to change out here in the country. The way we see it, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So when you stop by Cracker Barrel, you'll find things pretty much the way they've always been at an old country store. A big porch for relaxing, a country shop for browsing, and a kitchen serving up the good country cooking America grew up on. And since folks seem to like it just fine that way, we don't anticipate much change. The country's right down the road at Cracker Barrel Old Country Store.
In this half hour, Weather Center AM with the national forecast, then travel-wise, the weekend outlook, and Storm Watch. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Well, the South is finally shaking the stormy weather that made holiday travel so difficult yesterday. But it'll be later this morning before it's finally all over. Merry Christmas and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Cheryl Lemke.
And I'm Annen. Hopefully you are safely at your destination and can enjoy the white Christmas in many of the areas so far. Enjoy it because it won't be lasting for too long for some people. Enjoy the snow in New York City because you're back to sunshine this afternoon and warmer temperatures, and that's going to threaten a big meltdown there. After a terrible ice storm, Raleigh-Durham in North Carolina is seeing snow flurries at this hour. Atlanta has cloudy skies, and for Hartford, Connecticut, where you're starting out with temperatures in the teens this morning. With more in the Northeast, let's go to Cheryl.
And if you're getting up early this morning, maybe unwrapping Christmas presents or perhaps putting the turkey in the oven and getting ready for Christmas dinner, it looks very quiet, very tranquil across most of the Northeast. In fact, dry weather right now from down east Maine through Boston, Concord and Lebanon, New Hampshire. Quiet weather too for New York City and Philadelphia, all the way back through Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. However, some of you are definitely waking up to a white Christmas. We have some snow showers taking place this morning around Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. What's happening is that we have some cool westerly winds flowing in across the Great Lakes. Those winds start to pick up some moisture from the Great Lakes and in turn deposits the moisture in the form of snow showers. And most of the snow this morning is concentrated between Watertown and Syracuse. So if you're traveling perhaps over portions of Interstate 81, watch out for some snowy, wintry conditions. And we're picking up more snow too, especially south of Buffalo, back through Dunkirk and over towards Lake Chautauqua and Jamestown, New York. And when you combine this morning snow with the snow yesterday, Indeed, it's definitely turning out to be a white Christmas for many of you. Provincetown, Massachusetts, we've had about 8 inches of snowfall there. Toms River, New Jersey, picked up about 4 inches of snow yesterday. And we had a little coating of snow, too, for Philly and Baltimore and New York City. And at least for the morning hours, as you're unwrapping those presents, you will look outside and definitely see a fresh white mantle of snow on the ground. But some of that snow will be eroding and melting away, we think, come later this afternoon as temperatures finally climb up above the freezing mark later on. In fact, projected highs should be in the mid-30s, we think, for Boston and Hartford and Providence, all the way down towards Washington, D.C. come later this afternoon. High pressure keeping it very quiet around the Great Lakes this morning from Minneapolis through Green Bay, Chicago, Detroit. You're waking up to a very quiet Christmas morning. But our next weather system is starting to make some inroads across the upper plain states. We see a low pressure area coming in across Montana, and that will eventually sweep in across the Dakotas come later this afternoon. It's a fairly weak system, though, with very little moisture to work with, and hence any snow that does fall will stay very, very light. Probably the bigger story, though, for the upper Midwest remains the temperatures and how chilly it's been. If you had a winter coat that Santa brought you for Christmas, you will definitely have a chance to try it out this afternoon because temperatures will stay on the cold side. Right now it's a mere 11 degrees for Lincoln, Nebraska, 16 for Des Moines, Iowa, with 16 in Flint, Michigan. Then you factor in the winds and it makes it feel much colder. And these wind chills are bitterly cold right now around Minneapolis. It feels like -3. So if you're stepping outside for a morning jog or walking the dog this morning, definitely dress with several layers of warm clothes. And across the Northeast here, too, we're waking up to some nippy temperatures, lots of teens and 20s, but again, gradually warming above the freezing mark, we think, come later this afternoon. And now let's see how the South is faring on this Christmas morn. With more details, here's Will.
Thanks a lot, Cheryl. It's going to be the South where you're going to find the largest pocket of precipitation on this early Christmas morning. It also runs the gamut from rain in northern Florida to sleet and snow and icy conditions still in parts of North Carolina. Icy conditions severely damaged electric service in North Carolina during the last couple of days. Downed trees took out power lines, most of them in the Raleigh-Wake County area. As of 5:30 this morning, still 33,000 people without power in North Carolina. But that's an improvement from the 83,000 who lost power at the height of the storm during the last day or day and a half. This is the story right now over the southeast. You can see the cloud cover, and the thickest of the cloud cover right now runs from eastern Texas into the Carolinas. But the brunt of the rainfall at this hour is beginning to stretch its way on south and southeastward into northwestern parts of Florida. The weather map this morning. Improving conditions from Waco and Austin, Killeen, getting up towards Dallas and Fort Worth. Your freezing rain is gone at the present time. High pressure beginning to build some drier weather back in the northeastern Texas at the present hour. But there is the rainfall stretching out from parts of New Orleans, Mobile, all the way around Dothan, Alabama. You don't really get into much of the way of any icy conditions until you get into parts of North Carolina, like around Fayetteville, where freezing rain is still coming on down because temperatures there are still below freezing. Even around Raleigh-Durham at 29 degrees, hard hit by the ice storm, but thankfully for you folks, the bulk of the rainfall has shifted south and east of your region, at least for the time being. Orlando all the way down towards Miami, very, very nice conditions this morning, but it is a bit on the foggy side. So once again, travelers on Interstates 95 and some of the secondary roads, watch out for the ice. Yes, the ice may be gone around Raleigh-Durham and Chapel Hill, but keep in mind, you saw a ton of it during the last couple of days, and it's going to take at least another 24 hours to melt. Tomorrow will be the best day for some melting ice from Nashville to Raleigh-Durham and Chapel Hill with more sunshine and some warmer temps. We'll pick up the rainfall right now, basically all rain at the present hour. Again, it looks like the worst of the weather around Raleigh-Durham beginning to end, also right around Charlotte. And definitely around Atlanta and southbound, you're going to pick up the rainfall on this early morning. And yes, some of that precip stretches all the way back towards New Orleans, Louisiana. A few light showers there. A few light showers beginning to move into northwestern Florida, where the temperatures are beginning to drop on off. 50 Jacksonville, 41 Pensacola. A different story as you head down towards the south, where it's going to be nothing but 80-degree temps today, again for Fort Myers, Key West, Miami, and also right around West Palm, too. And the northwestern part of the country, you've got your problems in the form of another big storm. Lots of moisture, but at least the snow and the freezing rain coming to an end around Portland and Seattle at the present time, but not the snow for the Cascades that will continue. Here comes early on this evening, another fast-moving storm begins to cruise through Wisconsin and Minnesota. Light snowfall there, and you can see by early morning tomorrow, a weaker storm off the North Carolina coastline. Is that going to be traveling on northbound and affect parts of eastern New England by later tomorrow? We'll just have to wait and see.
Well, rain and snow could be a factor, though, if you're doing some holiday traveling.
We've got the latest on TravelWise after your local forecast. Stay with us.
I've loved investing all of my life. It allows me to think about all the new creative things going on around me. I come across companies with great new ideas. So what do? I jump onto Schwab.com. I can get all kinds of information. I can get earnings projections. I can get what the company's done in the past. I can get their balance sheet. It allows me to have a complete, comprehensive amount of information to allow me to make a very informed decision. It's about freedom. Now you're in control.
Time is running out on Buick Swing into 99. And for a short time only, we've got numbers that'll make your head spin. Low 0.99 APR financing on every 99 Buick for an average finance savings of up to $4,200. And a new twist, no monthly payments for 99 days. But these numbers won't be around much longer, so better jump now. Swing into your Buick dealer today.
Most convenient prescription services available. All roads lead here. Transferring your prescription to Walgreens is easy. Just call us and we'll do the rest.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Morning and Merry Christmas. If you're doing some holiday traveling for today, we have much better news for those of you across the southeast and the east. Unlike yesterday morning, where airport delays were really quite numerous across the eastern part of the country, this morning it's looking very, very quiet instead. However, for the Pacific Northwest, we're looking at some cold rain right now coming down around Seattle and Portland, and that continues with some airport delays there. But again, for the northeastern hubs, no problem. Right now, though, we still have a plume of moisture feeding in across the southeast. Luckily, though, most of the precipitation that is falling is taking the form of rain as opposed to ice and snow. But still around the northern fringes of this rain shield, we have been seeing kind of a wintry potpourri. And there's still some freezing rain right now for Winston-Salem back through Fort Bragg, North Carolina. There's also been a little bit of freezing rain, too, for Wallops Island around Virginia. And then just north of there, we've had some light snow flurries back over towards around the Tidewater area. There's been some light snow, too, for Raleigh-Durham. So needless to say, the roadways may still be rather slippery. So if you're visiting family or friends a little bit later on today, having some get-togethers for Christmas Day, Please be extra cautious on the roads. And keep in mind, too, that with temperatures staying below the freezing mark, the ice that we've seen falling the last couple of days will be sticking around for a while. So again, roadways very, very treacherous, especially those secondary, lesser traveled roads, and also the bridges and overpasses will be the most vulnerable, most susceptible to the ice. So again, be really careful today across the southeastern states. Gradually, there will be some improvements taking place across the area, and all the ice coming to an end a little bit later this afternoon. For the Pacific Northwest, the weather's steadily going downhill. More rain today, Seattle, Salem, through Portland, Oregon. Snow showers, though, for the Cascades, and the snow spreading their way out across the northern Rockies. Now, good news and bad news about the snow, because the bad news making it rather treacherous for traveling, but the good news, if you had some new skis for Christmas, you'll have a chance to check out those new skis because we'll have lots of fresh powder from the Cascades and across the northern Rockies. Winds today will likely be whipping up some of that snow. Strong winds today for parts of Montana and Wyoming, and the winds too picking up along coastal sections of Oregon. Well, today a very quiet Christmas day throughout the Northeast, featuring lots of sunshine, so a beautiful afternoon. Temperatures, though, cool and crisp. Temperatures at best mid-30s from Boston through Worcester on into New York City. Same story, too, for Hartford on into Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. We'll still be featuring mostly cloudy skies, though, for Atlanta. Some early morning rains for New Orleans, but improving conditions across the Tennessee Valley. And not much happening today for Kansas City, St. Louis, Chicago, Detroit, too, staying on the quiet side. And then lots of sunshine building across the Southwest. But for the Pacific Northwest, sunshine is still at a premium. Maybe you're heading overseas for the rest of the holiday weekend. We have some fast-moving systems coming right across Europe, and we'll likely see some rains tomorrow for London, and likewise a chilly rain for Copenhagen.
If you work outside for a living, you should know Walls makes clothes to fit any job. We've been keeping working folks comfortable for over 50 years, with clothes for every season. Because we know working outside isn't a picnic, unless it's lunchtime. Walls, leading the way outdoors.
Walls quality outerwear is available at a retailer near you.
What sets some people apart, gives them the confidence, knowledge, and insight to achieve success on their own terms. It's no secret, it's the Wall Street Journal. Now you can have that confidence delivered when you subscribe to the Wall Street Journal through this special introductory offer. 13 weeks for just $36.75. That's just 57 cents a day. 25% off our regular subscription rate, which makes now a great time to try the convenience of subscribing. As a subscriber, you won't miss a day of the Journal or an opportunity to get the breaking news and in-depth analysis you need to get where you want to go. Only the Journal delivers it. So take advantage of this limited time 25% savings offer by subscribing today for just 57 cents a day.
Call now, 800-942-3600. That's 800-942-3600 for the Wall Street Journal.
Later. Time now for the weekend outlook, and we start things off by looking at the high temperatures for the next few days. Well, much of the country has really been in the deep freeze, at least for the last few days, but we'll see some improvements taking place for Saturday and Sunday. As the jet stream lifts northward, the cold air, too, will start to retreat northward, and that will gradually bring us back to more seasonable readings across the south. Look at that. We think that temperatures will finally climb back into the 70s for Dallas. 50s and 60s from Birmingham through Atlanta, Georgia, not too bad, but still rather chilly for Boston and Pittsburgh all the way back through Omaha and Kansas City. Still some 30s and 40s. Well, we still have to deal with some frozen precipitation this morning for parts of North Carolina, but that should be tapering off by lunchtime. So very, very improved weather conditions across this area if you're doing some traveling a little bit later on today. For Christmas Day, though, not too bad for Cleveland, Dallas, Albuquerque, and Phoenix. You'll be enjoying some quiet weather on this Christmas Day. For the Pacific Northwest, though, it stays unsettled. More rain and more mountain snow, with the snow showers, though, eventually spreading their way out across the heartland, we think, by later this weekend. So be prepared for that. How about some events? A lot of football going on this weekend. And as the Broncos take on the Seahawks, we're calling for some fairly nice conditions. A mix of clouds and sunshine and temperatures in the mid-50s. A little bit colder, though, for the Vikings and the Oilers. Stay tuned. Storm Watch is up in a moment.
There are those who don't jump on the latest trends, who believe in a truck's agility and determination, who believe in a truck with legendary Vortec technology that handles even when fully loaded. For those who know when a truck is a truck and not just a bandwagon.
Jump into your very own 98 Sonoma right now. Get $2,000 cash back or 0.9% APR financing.
The Sonoma from GMC.
You can also get reliable forecasts from the Weather Channel through this radio station or newspaper. What's the weather going to be like where you're traveling to tomorrow? Find out with a wake-up call from 1-900-WEATHER. Call 1-900-WEATHER, 95 cents a minute from a touch-tone phone.
Mr. Sandman. Remember when a quarter bought you 3 songs on the jukebox? And where you had the most fun hanging out with your friends? Young love, first love. Now relive those malt shop memories with 36 of the most romantic songs to ever come out of a jukebox. Since I met you, baby, 16 candles. Come with me, my love. Teen angel, can you hear me? Sorry now for the food. Oh yeah, all I have to do is dream. 'Cause I want girl. Call now for Malt Shop Memories. 2 cassettes, $19.98. 2 CDs, $26.98. Have your credit card ready and call now.
You want to be prepared? You watch the Weather Channel. When it comes to something as important as this, knowing what we know can make all the difference. It's all we do. Now your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
It's time for Storm Watch once again. We've got some better news for you folks today. The big ice storm over the southeast is coming to an end, especially around Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. Much of the central into the northeastern parts of North Carolina, very hard hit. Lots of people still without power, and we'll have a complete report coming up at the top of the hour as well and show you some of the video coming in from North Carolina too. But for the time being right now, you still have to realize a lot of people are without power. Power is down in many locations. Roads are still iced up, especially secondary roads. That means a lot of the traffic area, a lot of the traffic lights are out too. So once you get to an intersection with no lights, treat it as a four-way stop. And you should be doing that in the Christmas spirit all year long whenever something like that does happen. But again, the bulk of the moisture right now is sliding south of Atlanta, Georgia, Birmingham, Alabama, which is still below freezing, but your ice storm is coming to an end. We're looking at more moisture, at least high-level clouds back into Texas, but nothing is falling from those clouds as of the present time. If you live in the Midwestern part of the country, fast-moving moisture area right in through here is going to blanket Minnesota and Wisconsin and northern parts of Iowa with a fairly decent chance of some light snow later on this afternoon. and probably lingering until around midnight tonight. So that includes Minneapolis, Madison, Milwaukee, and Des Moines, Iowa, and also right around Dubuque. Let's show you what's going to be happening right now as we look at our current weather map. Another storm coming into the Pacific Northwest. That'll be later on this morning and later on this afternoon. So once again, the rain will be increasing here at the present time. And you could be looking at some chillier rainfall too, maybe sliding southbound into northern California. The Midwestern storm is going to be a weak one, now developing throughout the northern plains and Rockies. Scoots over towards La Crosse and Unalaska and western Wisconsin a little bit later on today. Northeast looks fine. Watch out for the lake effect snows east of Lake Erie and also Ontario. And you see very little orange on the weather map right now if you live or are going to be doing any traveling at all in the southeast. Fayetteville in North Carolina, a little bit of freezing rain is still coming on down, but things are improving much, much better as you head back towards the west. Asheville, North Carolina, a little bit of dense fog, but that's just about it. You can see the rainfall now stretches. Scattered showers from New Orleans, Dothan, Alabama, to Macon, Columbus, over towards Columbia, South Carolina. And again, off towards the north, where you could be looking at some problems where temperatures are still below the freezing mark at the present time. Nothing is falling now. 23 in Dallas, but dry. 28 degrees in Jackson and dry. Birmingham is dry at 30 degrees, as well as Huntsville, which saw some massive icing as well during the last 24 hours. Problem spot for the upcoming morning afternoon is going to be, let's say, right around Interstate 95, getting back towards Fayetteville and also right around Raleigh-Durham. But looks like the worst of the weather right now for Raleigh and Durham and Chapel Hill is done. There you can see everything now sliding on towards your east. Stretching now from Cape Hatteras to Wilmington, down towards Macon and Columbus, Georgia. That is all rain. We'll take a look at the big picture right now, and again you can see some of that rainfall stretching as far westward as New Orleans and also right around Dothan in southeastern Alabama. Some of the rainfall as well, clipping northwestern Florida right around the Panhandle, where temperatures are beginning to fall off dramatically now in the extreme northern parts of that state. Looking at the northeast, the only really problem spots at this hour is going to be some of those lake effect snow showers south of Buffalo right now, but with winds returning back towards the west and southwest, we think those snow showers are going to be bumped up more towards the north. So Buffalo, you could be looking at some of those snow showers a little bit later on. Here's a look at the temperatures right now, below freezing at Boston, New York City, and Philadelphia and Washington. Same thing again around Rochester and Erie, and also right around Detroit at 16 degrees this morning. And the lake effect snow showers, here they come. You can see they're lifting on northward again towards Buffalo, New York, also towards Watertown. Be looking at the same thing again across Lakes Erie and Ontario for the upcoming day. That's a look at the eastern part of the country. Another problem spot will be throughout the west. A lot of moisture again coming into the Pacific Northwest. You're looking at one storm after another here. Not tremendous storms for the time being, but again, we could be looking at some problems for the Columbia River Gorge. Looks like